G.I. Joe number 7 from Image Comics and Skybound finds Beachhead undertaking a mission to steal a secret weapon from a wealthy collector. But what Beachhead doesn't know is that his mission is a test for something greater. What's it all about? Let's find out in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Comical Opinions. Wow, what a difference a month makes. G.I. Joe number 7 is the best issue in the series so far for multiple reasons. First and foremost, Joshua Williamson's script is clean, clear, and focused, something he's had trouble with in the past, and it sets the stage for the formation of a covert team that plays dirty, something Duke is not going to like. Plus, you have a guest art team on this issue, and it is levels better than the previous issues. It's amazing. Again, what a difference a month makes. To underscore the point, let's talk about the pros and the cons, starting with the positives. Joshua Williamson's Beachhead-centric issue, which is what this issue is all about, is tight, it's clean, it's focused, it's dramatic, and it's intense. That's how every G.I. Joe comic should be. You have this character who is admittedly a loner, and he's sent off on a solo mission to acquire something unique. We'll leave it at that, no spoilers here. Plus, the story feels complete as a standalone, but it also lays the foundation for a bigger event or a bigger arc or a bigger conflict, whatever you want to call it. It's the entry point to something larger. I'll leave it at that. So Williamson really hits it out of the park with this issue. Plus, and we'll get to the artwork in a minute, the artwork is a heck of a lot better. Now let's talk about the negatives, and thankfully in this case the negatives are relatively small. If you choose to, you can look past them, but they are noticeable. G.I. Joe number 7 works, except for this one primary aspect: coincidences. You got several of them. Beachhead's ultra patient wait for the crate to show up, and we'll talk about the synopsis to give you more detail, makes perfect sense for that character and the type of mission he's sent on. But it seems odd that another character shows up, in this case Major Bludd and his Bloodhounds, show up at exactly the same time looking for the exact same object. Further, when you get to this escape scene, when we'll cover that one in detail in a bit as well, Lady J and Flint happen to show up again just in the right place at just the right time. There's a lot of hand-waving coincidences where the timing just miraculously works out, and in some cases it's a little bit much. It's not too bad, but it's enough to keep it from being a perfect comic. And on a side note, Joshua Williamson ended number 6 on a super intriguing cliffhanger with Hound showing up out of the blue. But he does nothing with it in this issue. So you're sort of set up with this expectation of how this big cliffhanger is going to resolve, and then Williamson just promptly ignores it. It's more of a preference on that last point, but it is something that you are going to notice. Let's switch gears and talk about the art for a second. So I'm going to address this on two fronts because we have replacements on both the pencils and inks and the coloring, and it makes a huge difference in this issue, which means the art is possibly the biggest improvement over the priors. Andrea Milana steps in for Tom Riley. It's unclear if it's just for this issue or the substitution is for the entire arc, we're not quite sure, for a stealthy, hard-hitting, action-packed mission starring Beachhead. Truly, Milana's hand-to-hand fight choreography is outstanding. It's the centerpiece of this issue, and it looks fantastic. And the visual framing for a lot of the far-off scenes, like the mercenaries walking down the beach and whatnot, they all look great. It would be nice if Milana's inks were, I think, cleaner and sharper, maybe a bit crisper to match the military precision vibe of the material, but we'll take it. It looks fantastic. The second substitution in the art is Lee Luffridge, who subs in for Jody Belair. Now, that is probably by far the biggest upgrade in this issue. We've criticized Belair's coloring since issue number 1 for bizarre palette choices, resulting in ugly, muddy, off-putting visual presentation. I don't know why Jody Belair chose to go that route, but it just didn't work. Visually, it was just ugly, and that's the only word that applies. Lee Luffridge plays it straight by using a palette that makes sense and matches the gritty, grounded realism of the material while adding in moments of flash and pop for dramatic effect, especially during the action scenes. Skybound would do well to keep Milana and Luffridge on the run as long as possible, because the difference in art appeal between this issue and the previous 6 is like night and day. Before we dig into the plot, let's recap what happened in G.I. Joe number 6. Cobra Commander met with Destro to unveil the special device he extracted from Dr. Viper's brain bomb before he fled from capture, avoiding the G.I. Joe assault team. Later, Clutch went for an evening drive to get some air after returning to the pit from his impromptu undercover mission, and unfortunately his duffel bag contained a device that was left over from that mission, and that device somehow turned his Jeep into the Transformer known as Hound. And that's what we mean by a pretty intriguing cliffhanger. That brings us to G.I. Joe number 7. We begin with a brief prologue. CoverGirl asks Colonel Hawk in the newly restored and rebuilt pit about a heavily redacted memo she found while moving offices and shuffling boxes. The memo references something called the Night Force. Colonel Hawk dismisses the finding as just an old project that was never implemented, but he quickly snatches the memo away and shreds it, which is what we call, foreshadowing. Elsewhere, we visit the beachfront home of the ultra-wealthy weapons collector Victor Foley. What Foley doesn't know is that his home is about to be invaded by the only Joe who could hide in the shadows in the sand of the beach for 3 days, waiting for a special shipment to arrive, Beachhead. When Foley's expensive mercenaries patrol the grounds, Beachhead jumps the mercs and kills them. He sneaks into Foley's compound and finds the object he was sent to steal, a man-sized crate labeled 47. Beachhead quietly loads the crate onto a dolly, but his progress halts when one of Major Bludd's Bloodhounds attacks Beachhead from the shadows inside the compound. The one attacker is soon joined by several, and during the fight, one of Bludd's men wraps a chain around the crate so a waiting truck can yank it through a nearby window and drag it away. Beachhead leaps out of the window and onto the crate, latches onto it for dear life. Hundreds of yards down the road, Beachhead shoots the truck's chain, scraping to a stop with the crate in the middle of the road. The Bloodhounds catch up on motorcycles, but a Joe shuttle flies in to scoop up the crate and Beachhead. The issue ends with Major Bludd demonstrating the price for failure for his Bloodhounds. Beachhead, worrying that his semi-botched mission will relegate him to training instructor, which is, for him, a death sentence. And Lady J showing Beachhead what's in the box while offering him a job Duke wouldn't approve of. And that's music to Beachhead's ears. Let's take a step back and look at the big picture. The contents of crate number 47 are revealed at the end of G.I. Joe number 7, but the contents have, I would say, almost nothing. There's a little bit of a connection, but almost nothing to do with Transformers. As of now, there's no official word on when there will be a crossover between G.I. Joe and Transformers, although it's been talked about endlessly, but we'll let you know if we hear anything concrete. Final thoughts. What do we think about G.I. Joe number 7? It begins a new arc and the development of a new team when Beachhead steals a dangerous weapon from a wealthy collector. Joshua Williamson's script is tight, focused, and action-packed. Plus, the guest art team makes this story look worlds better than the previous issues. If you weren't sold on this series before, this issue might just change your mind. Therefore, G.I. Joe number 7 from Image Comics and Skybound earns a 9 out of 10. That's our highest score for this series so far, and I think it's well earned in this case. Several things are improved upon in this issue, and Skybound would do well to capitalize on those improvements and keep them going. But what do you think? Are you enjoying this series? Where do you think it stacks up against Real American Hero, which is the traditional Larry Hama series, which is running in a parallel timeline? Let me know what you think of the two series and which one right now is better or worse than the other. So, thank you very much for joining, and stay tuned through the outro for more reviews just like this one.